What's the greatest legal loophole you've found in life? Story 1. At one point, there was a statute in Virginia that essentially said if there was no one manning the booth to get on the toll road, you were not responsible for a fine if you ran it, because otherwise you had to have exact change. But in my area, they ended up completely unmanned after a certain hour, so I had a letter I provided my friends as a template so that they could completely avoid this hefty fine. Worked for all of us. Story 2. My little brother got a job at Harvard. He didn't have a college degree. He was allowed to take one class a semester or something like that. It took him 10 years, but he got a degree from Harvard in archaeology. Story 3. It used to be cheaper for me to take a class at a nearby university and get student health insurance that way than it was to just buy health insurance. If you get really lucky, you can find a professor who'll let you do a 1-hour independent study, and it's even cheaper. And if they're cool with your reasons, you won't even have to work that hard. Haven't checked out the prices or done a comparison lately, but it's always an option, as long as you don't pick an online class that doesn't qualify for health insurance. Story 4. I missed out, but I loved the gold dollar fiasco. In 2008, the U.S. Mint produced more than 1 billion new gold dollar coins. Nobody wanted them, so they figured maybe if they offered free shipping, then people would order some online. Some clever folks ordered book-oos of them using credit cards that gave rewards, frequent flyer miles, etc. When the coins were delivered, they just deposited them into their bank accounts, paid off the credit card bill, and went to Hawaii with their free frequent flyer miles. Story 5. I once got a speeding ticket for driving 52 in a 35 mph/USA. I was driving on a stretch of road that was only about a mile long, intersections at both ends, and there were no speed limit signs on the road. All adjacent roads had a posted speed limit of 35, so one would assume that the speed limit on the road I was stopped on should be 35. But state law dictates that the default speed limit on county roads, when not otherwise posted, is 50 miles per hour. I took pictures of the road at several places to show that there were no posted speed limit signs, and brought those pictures to court when I challenged the ticket, and the judge dropped the ticket. This isn't truly great in the grand scheme of things, but for a moment, I felt like I had just won the greatest legal case in history. Story 6. While in college, I won a free pizza for a year contest from Papa John's on a radio station. It was really one pizza per month for 12 total. I called in and told the guy I had the little card they gave me, and he said no problem, and sent the delivery guy over who confirmed I had the card and gave me my pizza. Next month, I did the same. Then it dawned on me. They're not taking my card or marking it in any way, so I called a different Papa John's and told them my story, and sure enough, it worked. And they didn't do anything with my card either. I started working 4 different PJs near me to get one pizza per week every month without arousing suspicion. With leftovers, I could stretch it to 2 or 3 days easily. I did this for almost 2 years before I was sick of PJ's Pizza and gave my card to my roommate as I finished college and moved out. For a broke-ass college kid, this saved me. But to this day, I can't eat PJs. Story 7. In college, I lived with my GF. We had renter's insurance that I managed. I left for 6 months to go to grad school in a different state, but only took a portion of my things. She moved into a different place with a friend of hers. They decided that her friend would keep her rental insurance because it was cheaper. They had a pipe burst while they were out of town for a few weeks and lost everything. Turns out, her friend's policy was cheaper because it was capped at $10K. I'm lazy. I never called my insurance company to cancel my policy. Midway through their flight over the money, I called my company and said, "Hey, I moved but didn't tell you. Am I still covered?" They were like, "Sure, we insure your stuff, not the building." The claim ended up being close to $50K and was a nice way of replacing all my old crap from college before starting real life. Also, for the same claim, the adjuster got so tired of reviewing receipts, they just paid the max and let it go. Story 8. Local online retail store, think H&M, ran a competition to win a $150 off coupon. I naturally entered with my account, my sister, and my mom's. All 3 of us won, and the coupon code sent to all of us was the exact same. So I figured if I created a different email every time, I'd continue using it, which I did for the whole year until the expiration date. And by that time, I had spent over $5,000 without them noticing. Story 9. To help build your kids' credit, make them an authorized user on your cards. Don't actually let them use it, but your use and payment on your card seems to transfer to the kid. Stepson had a 730 credit score at 21 without ever taking out any cards/loans himself. Another credit tip: if you file bankruptcy and need to build credit and have some cash, Take out a secured loan with a bank credit union. You have to front the money in a savings account and make payments, but there is no reason to get turned down, and it rapidly builds your credit back. Story 10. Cruise Ship Casino. I was gifted $200 in credit to pay for Ship Extra's activities when I ordered my cruise package. When I got to the casino, I realized you could load that credit into the slot machines. After one round of testing with depositing a small amount and immediately cashing it out worked, I went back and came out of the casino with 2 crisp $100 bills, never placing a bet. Story 11. Not a legal loophole, but a business one. The New York Yankees in their late 90s heyday had a trick to get playoff and World Series tickets. Since orders were taken over the phone and batch processed overnight, there would inevitably be data entry errors or over limits that would kick a sale back and those tickets back into the available pool. Simply calling at opening the day after tickets went on sale got us tickets to every postseason game we wanted to go to for years, until they switched to real-time credit card processing. Story 12. Obscure high-end and totally overpriced food online shop had a rating feature that gave you reward points for the store. Don't remember how many points per review, and they only accepted about 1 in 3 reviews that I wrote, but I was in school and had time. Got about €200–250 in overpriced food out of it, but hey, it was free, since my time wasn't valuable back then, or at least I thought so. I was scared about the legality, so I did not exploit it by using multiple accounts. I stopped after some months when they dropped the rewards feature. Looking back, I am still amazed that nobody ever noticed that one person wrote about 1,000 reviews on expensive food items, but never bought anything, apart from the 3 or 4 orders I did, when I reached about €70 in bonus points. Story 13. If you own a business that manufactures goods, especially clothes or whatever, you should have 2 companies, one in the States, assuming you're American, and one in the Cayman Islands. Your American company will make the product, then pay huge fees to your shell company on the island to use their logos on your products, thus sending the majority of your money over there where you pay basically 0 taxes on it. And the IRS won't be able to do shit about it since all that money is in an offshore account. Story 14. I had Domino's Pizza app, and they had a short-lived code for a week, mid-pandemic, for 50% off. They pulled the coupon, but I saved the code. I manually input it every time I ordered. It worked for a year and a half, and I saved a bloody fortune on pizza. It did sting a lot afterwards, having to look at regular price for a pizza. I did Friday pizza night every week for the family, so it added up quickly. Story 15. Old LL tried charging me a cleaning fee when I moved out for some very minor things like hair on the window ledge. I had spent the whole weekend before I moved out cleaning the place, so I know it wasn't in bad shape at all. I'm guessing they were going to have cleaners come anyway and wanted to find any reason to charge me. Long story short, I fought it and won, because local law said they had to send a claim via certified mail within 30 days, and all our communication was done via text or email. Story 16. I got a refund on a non-refundable flight with Delta. Normally, if you cancel a non-refundable flight, they will only give you the value back as a voucher to use on another flight. I booked a non-refundable flight that I didn't need to take, then canceled it, and got the voucher for the amount for that flight. I used that voucher and booked a refundable flight, then canceled it. It gave me the option to refund it back to my credit card, and it let me do it, so I got my money back instead of it being applied as a voucher again. Story 17. Not a legal loophole, but my parents had an incredibly strict rule that if a sport required a helmet or any safety headgear, then that sport was too dangerous to play and was forbidden for me to participate. So no football, no ice hockey, no baseball or lacrosse. Even squash and racquetball were tenuous, safety eyewear requirement. I could only play tennis and golf, but as a teenager, I really wanted to play a contact team sport. That's when I discovered rugby. My parents had never heard of it, and when I told them that it didn't require a helmet, thus satisfying their rule, they signed off on it, and I played for a local men's club my senior year of high school before I moved out to go to college, where I played for another 4 years away from their judgment. Story 18. I tried and failed to get tickets for the London Olympics via the main ticket application site. A small number of tickets are also sold by national associations, and so I went through every single European country's Olympic websites. Everyone was in high demand or required being a resident except one. On the Icelandic website, the English version mentioned nothing, but if you went to the Icelandic language version, then you could buy tickets for almost any event. So I immediately bought the cheapest tickets for the 100m athletics final, the tennis finals, and the swimming finals. Story 19. Not really a legal loophole, but more a poorly programmed mobile app. Me and my coworkers used the Subway app for our lunch. It would generate 1 coupon per day. Most of these coupons weren't that great. However, there was a rare 50% off coupon that had like a 1 in 10 chance of spawning. The trick was, this app just checked the local device time, so if you switched the date a day forward, you would get a new chance. Needless to say, my coworkers and I always showed up with the 50% off coupon until they deprecated the app for a new system. Was fun while it lasted. Story 20. Refinancing your home for more than you owe to get cash to pay down some bills lowers the equity in your home. Thus, you don't have to give your ex as much as he thought he'd get when you decided to sell it. It's only me on the mortgage and title, but since I bought it after we were married, it is a marital asset as far as my state is concerned, and he was entitled to half the equity, despite paying $0 into it at all. The divorce was written that he'd get half the current equity when I decided to sell or $50K, whichever is lower. I had it worded that way because I wasn't about to let him take advantage of the appreciation over time, because the market here has been crazy. Didn't realize I was building an out for myself when I did it. I offered him $30K at the time of the divorce to buy him out, but he refused, saying he'd rather wait and get $50. Little does he know, that gave me time to learn a thing or two. ETA. Good grief, I didn't realize expect this to see any attention or get comments back. This isn't who I am, I wish it were, but it's not. He'll sadly get his $50K because I'd actually feel bad and be too paranoid to pull it off. It has come up in conversations as a revenge fantasy, as someone put it, but I wouldn't actually do it. I'm not an idiot to post a real plan online, just to further clarify who I am as a person. My fiancé was rear-ended by a corporate-owned snowplow this winter. It totaled his car, and he was upside down on the loan since it was a new car. Everyone, including our insurance agent, kept telling him/us to sue the company for shit tons of money. We asked the company if they would settle for the balance of the payoff that he owed, plus the down payment for his new car, plus an extra $500 for the hassle of it all. Story 21. Guy I knew ran an illegal gambling game out of his house a few nights a week and took a rake. For years, tax-free, and with essentially no punishment. I went once. Minimum $80 buy-in. He had beer and provided food, had 2 card tables and hired a dealer, and had a big door guy and multiple cameras. Dealer raked $2 from each pot for the house. Back of the napkin math. Let's say just 2 games a week and let's average 1 minute per hand. Games probably started around 9 and would last till morning if needed, but let's say 3 a.m., so 6 hours. $2 for 60 minutes is $120 per hour asterisk. 6 equals 720 each night. Twice a week is $1440 a week. Let's say 50 weeks a year is 1,440 times 50 equals 72,000 a year. He did this for years, and eventually it was big enough that word got around, and people showed up at his door one day basically saying, "This has to stop or we're filing charges." So he quit. Guy made an extra $70K or more a year and got a warning. I think that is a pretty good deal. Story 22. Most people know if you get a ticket, you can pay it and have it requested to not be reported to insurance. You can do this for every ticket every 2 years. If you get another ticket before the time limit, go to court and request a trial by jury, which shifts the burden of proof to the cop and buys time. Most ADAs aren't going to bother and offer a plea of doing defensive driving and paying the fine, and no report on record. For any traffic ticket, it's better to get legal counsel even if it's with a public defender. Court is usually always a better option if you can spare the time. My story, I was in a small municipality, but we had it moved to Superior Court and requested to have a trial by jury, in which case the cop would have to produce body cam footage proving the case. It was a move to put them on the defense burden of proof. They dismissed it with just taking defensive driving. Story 23. Not myself, but a guy I worked with had a payment that was required to be paid in installments. He sent them a check with a letter attached saying that this check was agreed to be final and full payment settlement for his specific account number. Whichever accountant that received this processed the check. When they contacted him about it, he sent them a copy of the letter, and they couldn't take any more payment. Story 24. When doing your taxes, always file for extension. Then hop on the IRS website around June and log in and see what's been reported under your wage transcript. Any income you've made, that wasn't reported to the IRS. It's 100% your discretion in you want to report it or not. The IRS doesn't know about it. It wasn't reported to them. Not even 1099 gets reported to the IRS. Not every W-2 gets reported to the IRS. Enjoy. Story 25. When we got married, my husband and I put an online registry on a major American wedding site. They advertised that after your wedding, the entire website was 20% off for a period of time. I put up my registry, never ordered any of the purchased items to be delivered. After our wedding, I virtually returned all of our gifts and purchased them back at a 20% discount. I made quite a profit and had over 1K of credit to be used on the site. I purchased a gift card to a major airline and used it towards our honeymoon airfare. Story 26. You can record any phone call, any place in the USA, just by telling the person you are recording the call. You can even tell them that as long as the call is connected, you will be recording. Them telling you that you are not allowed to record them isn't going to work. If they don't want to be recorded, all they need to do is disconnect.